5 morning water mistakes seniors make and how to fix them. Clara Thompson's days began in the gentle embrace of Savannah, Georgia, where the air carried whispers of salt from the Atlantic, and the streets were lined with live oaks dripping Spanish moss. At 73, a retired nurse with a passion for gardening and a warm laugh that drew neighbors to her porch, Clara was a fixture in her community. Her bungalow near Forsyth Park bloomed with roses and jasmine, its wraparound porch a stage for iced tea chats and Sunday book club debates. She'd always been vigilant about health. Kale smoothies blended in her sunny kitchen, daily walks past historic squares, a morning glass of water to flush the system, a mantra from her decades in Savannah's bustling ER. But lately her mornings felt off-kilter, dizzy spells that stopped her mid-step, a queasy stomach that dimmed her love for shrimp and grits, fatigue that hung heavy as Savannah's summer humidity. She'd sigh, just old age creeping in, but the truth was more intricate, woven into a ritual she'd never questioned, her first sip of water each day. This is Clara's story, set in the soulful rhythm of coastal Georgia, unraveling 5 surprising mistakes seniors make when drinking water at dawn, mistakes that can strain hearts, disrupt medications, or burden kidneys, and sharing practical, heartfelt fixes to restore vitality, balance, and joy. Crafted for an American audience, her journey celebrates aging's wisdom with Savannah's charm as its heartbeat, guiding readers to mornings that nurture, not challenge, with lessons as timeless as the city's cobblestone streets. On drinking water too quickly. Clara's mornings unfolded like a well-loved hymn, each note deliberate in her Forsyth Park bungalow. She'd wake at 6:30, the sky blushing pink over Savannah's spires, and stretch her creaky joints, knees snapping like twigs, shoulders tight from sleep. In her faded slippers, she'd pad to the kitchen, where a glass pitcher sat on a butcher block counter, filled with water she'd set out the night before. Her throat, dry as a low-country marsh in August, begged for relief. She'd pour a tall tumbler, the water glinting in the dawn light, and gulp it down in swift, eager swallows, the cool rush a jolt that felt like health itself. "Good start," she'd murmur, wiping her lips, then flick on her radio, WABE's soft jazz mingling with the clink of her coffee pot. She'd settle at her breakfast nook, a quilted placemat beneath her elbows, skimming the Savannah morning news for oyster roast listings or updates on the city's riverwalk. But some days the melody faltered. 10 minutes after her water, dizziness would strike, her vision swimming, the room tilting like a shrimp boat in a gale. Her chest tightened, her pulse a faint, uneven flutter, as if she'd sprinted through Bonaventure Cemetery instead of standing still. She'd grip the counter, heart thudding, and ease into a chair, blaming a fitful night or low sugar. "Come on, Clara, shake it," she'd whisper, but the unease lingered, a fog over her morning. Fatigue followed, not the ache of a 12-hour shift, but a peculiar drain, like her spark wouldn't catch. By noon she'd feel heavy, her plans to prune roses or meet Emily at the market pushed aside. Clara didn't suspect her quick gulps were to blame. At 35, she chugged water post-night shift, her body snapping to like a well-tuned engine. At 73, the rules had shifted, silent as Savannah's tides. Her digestive system now moved at a leisurely pace, emptying like the Savannah River winding to the sea. Her blood pressure, managed with medication, teetered on a delicate balance. Gulping water flooded her system, a sudden surge her body scrambled to tame. It diluted electrolytes, sodium, potassium that steady nerves and muscles, triggering lightheadedness. After hours lying flat, her blood volume was low, and the rushes strained her heart, already taxed by mild hypertension. For some seniors, this sparks arrhythmias or chest tightness, misread as graver woes. It's not about drinking, it's how you drink, her pharmacist Mike said later at Whitaker's drugstore, his voice calm over the hum of the soda fountain. The body, fresh from 6 to 8 hours of fasting, is in a quiet mode, cells repairing, energy conserved, not braced for a deluge. Flooding it swaps hydration for stress, like pouring rain on parched soil. It runs off, not soaks in. Clara's habit, meant to invigorate, was shocking her system, like cranking a cold car without warming it up. The fix was simple, steeped in patience. Clara switched to half a glass, 4 ounces, of room temperature water, sipped over 5 to 10 minutes. She'd sit at her nook, watching cardinals flit at her backyard feeder, their red wings aburst against the green. Each sip was deliberate, a moment to greet the day, not race it. It's like easing into a garden bed, she told her friend Louise at Clary's Cafe, her eyes crinkling over sweet tea. The dizziness dissolved, the heaviness lifted. Her mornings flowed smooth as a marsh breeze, energy rising like dew, not crashing like a wave. A 2020 NIH study says slow hydration cuts cardiovascular stress in seniors by 30%, and Clara lived it. Her body wasn't rushed but cradled, blooming like her jasmine under careful hands. She began spotting others' haste, Emily downing water before yoga, Louise guzzling post-walk. "Take it slow," Clara urged, her voice warm, sharing her stumble over shrimp bisque at the old pink house. It wasn't preachy, just care, wanting their mornings to glow. Her kitchen, once a stage for fleeting unease, became a sanctuary of intention, each sip a vow to thrive, not just endure, her days as vibrant as Savannah's azaleas in spring. 2. Drinking water before checking blood pressure meds. Clara was a sentinel of health, a legacy of her nursing days when she'd chart vitals with precision under flickering hospital lights. Each morning after her water, she'd reach for her pill organizer, a blue plastic case etched with days, popping her blood pressure meds, a diuretic to flush fluid, an ACE inhibitor to ease vessels. Then she'd slip outside, shears in hand, to tend her roses, their petals soft as Georgia dusk. Routine was her compass, tying her to the nurse who'd soothe frantic families, her calm a beacon in chaos. But lately, tremors shook her hands as she clipped blooms, her pulse racing like a marsh hare. Her home monitor flashed erratic numbers, 140 over 91 morning, 100 over 60 the next. Age's toll, she sighed, but doubt rooted deep. Was her heart betraying her? The trouble hid in her morning glass, innocent as a church hymn. Clara didn't know chugging water before her meds was diluting their power. Blood pressure drugs are finicky. Diuretics need a sip on an empty stomach. Too much liquid rushing them through half-absorbed, like rain skimming dry clay. ACE inhibitors may need food to avoid nausea, not a flood weakening their grip. Clara's big gulp was flushing her pills too fast, leaving her blood pressure unguarded, spiking by lunch, dipping low by afternoon, sparking shakes and flutters she misread as time's weight. At her annual checkup, Dr. Ellis, a physician with a drawl smooth as bourbon, unraveled it. "Water's your ally, Clara, but timing's the key," he said, adjusting her chart in his Tybee Road office. He tweaked her routine, diuretic with a sip, Wait 30 minutes, then hydrate fully. ACE inhibitor with grits or toast, not before. It felt like learning a new recipe, but Clara embraced it, her nurse's curiosity alight. Within 10 days, her tremors faded, her readings locked at 120/80, steady as Savannah's riverfront lamps. A 2021 JAMA study says proper med timing cuts blood pressure swings by 25% in seniors, and Clara felt it. Her mornings serene, her garden a delight, not a duty. She shared the lesson at book club, held under the chandeliers of Huey's on River Street. Check your pills. When? How much water? She urged, her voice a blend of grit and grace. Louise admitted mixing thyroid meds with coffee, puzzled by their lag. Henry, a retired firefighter, confessed to skipping doses, wary of side effects. Clara's nudge was love, not lecture, born from her own misstep. A 2019 AARP survey found 60% of seniors mistime medications, risk impotency, and Clara refused that fate. Her routine, once a silent saboteur, became a stronghold. Her health a choice, not chance. Each pill a step toward days brimming with sunlight and laughter. Clara began keeping a journal, a spiral notebook by her kettle, jotting med times and sips. It wasn't fussy, it was power. Like charting a patient's recovery, she'd smile, recalling ER nights when timing saved lives. Now it saved her mornings, her roses nodding approval as she pruned, her heart steady as Savannah's heartbeat. 3. Lying back down after drinking. Clara savored slow mornings, especially in Savannah's sultry summers when humidity wrapped her bungalow like a shawl. A water glass sat on her nightstand, etched with a sailboat, a gift from Emily's Hilton Head trip. Waking at dawn, she'd sip, sometimes finishing the whole thing, the coolness a balm for her parched throat. Then, craving quiet, she'd sink back into her pillows, the ceiling fan humming a lullaby. She'd listen to gulls squawk or plan her day, tomatoes to steak, a library book due, a call to her sister in Atlanta. But lately a burn flared in her chest, a bloated tightness, sometimes a dry cough that wasn't a cold. Tums doled it, cutting okra didn't help, and the discomfort lingered, a riddle etched in her bones. Emily, over coffee at the Collins Quarter, probed gently. "Mom, what do you do after water?" Clara described her ritual, sip, then snuggle back. Emily's eyes narrowed. "That might be stirring acid." Aging weakens the lower esophageal sphincter, the gate between stomach and esophagus, like a latch worn loose. Gravity seals it, but lying flat after water lets liquid pool, nudging acid upward. Even water, pure as a Savannah spring, can irritate an empty stomach, sparking reflux, a fullness, a cough, a queasy weight mimicking heartburn. Dawn's sluggish digestion worsens it, the body still rousing from sleep's hush. Clara, skeptical but intrigued, tested it. She sipped her half glass, then stayed upright, perched on her bed, skimming garden and gun, or rocking on her porch, jasmine scenting the air. She waited 20 minutes before reclining, letting gravity guide. The burn faded, bloating eased, the cough hushed. A 2019 gastroenterology study says upright posture, post-hydration, cuts reflux by 40% in seniors, and Clara's relief was testament. Her mornings felt crisp, her body unknotted. No new pills, no fad diets, just awareness, a shift as seamless as Savannah's tides. She laughed about it with Emily over crab cakes at the Gray, their table buzzing with stories. Clara's porch became her dawn sanctuary, rocking chair creaking, no longer a place of unease but of peace. Her body wasn't failing. It was whispering, and listening was her gift. Each upright moment a nod to comfort. She began noticing others. Louise dozing post-sip, Henry slumping after breakfast. "Stay up a bit," she'd say, her smile soft, sharing her fix at church potlucks. It wasn't bossy, it was care, her nurse's heart still tending, her mornings blooming like her garden under dawn's light. 4. Drinking cold water. First thing, Clara's fridge was a fortress of cool, a chilled pitcher, ever ready in George's relentless heat. Mornings meant an icy glass, poured straight from the door, the cold a shock that felt like life itself. She'd read in a 90s wellness mag, dog-eared in her ER break room, that cold water revved metabolism, woke the senses. Standing by her sink, overlooking her herb patch, she'd drink, the chill sharp as a Tybee wave. It braced her, like Savannah's sea breeze after a muggy day. But over months, trouble sprouted. Stomach cramps, quick but biting, a sluggish appetite that dulled her love for cornbread, a dull ache in her lower back. Her hands stayed cold, even in July's swelter, and breakfast lost its pull. Maybe dairy, she wondered, but skipping cheese didn't help. The pitcher stood firm, her ritual sacred. The truth was colder than her water. At 73, Clara's body craved harmony, not jolts. Digestion slowed, a clock ticking softer. Kidneys filtered with less zip. Icy water forced her system to labor, warming it to 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. This tense stomach vessels, slowing digestion, sparking cramps. Her kidneys, less nimble, felt the strain, that backache a quiet cry. Cold, constricted, not cleansed, stressing organs just stirring from sleep. Warmth soothes, her neighbor, Dr. Patel, a retired internist, said over hibiscus tea, his porch overlooking Abercorn Street. "Your body's a garden, Clara, not a race car." Clara switched to room temperature water, a carafe on her counter, no fridge needed. She added a lemon slice, a nurse's trick to spark digestion, tart as Savannah's summers. Within a week, cramps vanished. Her appetite danced back, biscuits and gravy a joy again. Her hands warmed, her back eased. A 2020 Journal of Gerontology study says warm hydration boosts digestion efficiency by 35% in seniors, and Clara felt it. Mornings gentle, not rattled. She served lemon water at church fish fries, her grin wide as friends raved. "Clara, this is divine." It wasn't dogma, it was care, aligning with her body's rhythm, as natural as the river's flow. She caught Henry chugging iced water post-garden, sweat beading his brow. "Try warm," she said, handing him a glass, lemon bobbing. He scoffed but sipped, later admitting, "Goes down easier." Clara's kitchen, scented with citrus, became a classroom, her story a seed for others. Her icy habit thawed, her mornings as welcoming as Savannah's dawn, each sip a toast to ease. 5. Skipping morning hydration. Altogether, Clara's friend Henry was Savannah's own, 76, a former firefighter, still heaving mulch for their community garden, his laugh booming over jazz records at dusk. But mornings dimmed his spark, dizziness when he stood, leg cramps that hobbled his stride, a fog clouding his knack for crosswords. Old gears grinded, he'd jest, but Clara saw worry flicker in his eyes. "Over oysters at Vic's on the river," she asked. "Water in the morning." Henry shrugged. "Coffee's my fuel. Water's for later." Henry's habit woke Clara to her own lapses. She'd skip water some days, dashing to steak tomatoes or meet Emily at Sentient Bean, thinking tea or juice sufficed. But aging dulls thirst. You're dehydrated before you feel it. Sleep sips fluids, breath, skin, metabolism draining 6 to 8 hours worth. Morning dehydration thickens blood, strains kidneys, fogs the brain. For seniors, mild cases spark dizziness, cramps, confusion, mimicking worse, like strokes or low sugar. A 2021 CDC report says 50% of seniors are chronically underhydrated, raising fall risks and heart strain. Coffee, a diuretic, pulls more than it gives, leaving cells parched. Clara saw her own fog on waterless days, her energy flat, her focus drifting mid-book. She started small, a half glass of room temperature water by her bed, sipped before brushing her teeth. She'd sit, dawn gilding her curtains, each sip grounding her like roots in soil. Henry joined, a mason jar by his radio, Billie Holiday crooning. Days later, his cramps eased, his balance held. Clara's fog cleared, her mind sharp for Emily's stories. A 2019 AHA study links morning hydration to 20% better cognitive focus in seniors, and they glowed. Morning steady, steps bold. Clara made it ritual, like mulching her garden. Simple, deliberate. Henry, at their next jazz night, raised a water glass, eyes twinkling. To Clara's brain. Skipping wasn't freedom, it was neglect. Hydration was love, a promise to their bodies, each sip a chord in their day's melody. Clara began nudging others. Louise at yoga, Emily post-run. Just a half glass, she'd say, her voice soft, her bungalow a hub of shared wisdom, its porch alive with laughter. Aging with wisdom and care. Clara Thompson's story unfolded under Savannah's ancient oaks, but it's America's pulse. Millions of seniors rethinking a sip, a habit, a dawn. Her bungalow sings, roses in vases, coffee perking, Emily's giggle at brunch. Clara learned water's more than liquid. It's timing, warmth, intention. She sips slow, times her meds, stays upright, chooses lemon spark, never skips. Each choice weaves health, clarity, joy, like threads in a gullah basket. Aging isn't loss, it's listening, not fighting time, but swaying with it, like marsh grass in the breeze. Clara strolls Savannah's squares, the river shimmering, stronger for it. Her story hums in towns from Boise to Bar Harbor, small acts, vast blooms. At 70, you've earned mornings that lift, not burden. Clara lives it, her days radiant with care, a revolution as quiet as dawn, yours to seize. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this, please like and share with your friends. Your support keeps these stories alive. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss a new episode. And if today's story touched your heart, leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you. Take care, stay well, and see you in the next story.